So today is Saturday, February 15th, 2025. I'm Daniel Scott Jacobs. Today we're going to talk about, is buying a house right for you, or should you invest some money elsewhere, right? Because here's the thing. If you have significant money in the bank, right, that money should be working for you. It should be invested somewhere, whether that's purchasing property, purchasing crypto, purchasing stocks, maybe you have a 401k or an IRA. You shouldn't have the money sitting in the bank for the simple fact that it's going to depreciate about 10% every year, right? Because the currency is being debased. That's because the Fed is printing money. That included with inflation, on average, looking at about a 10% debasement of the currency that you have if it's in cash, okay? If it's in the stock market, cryptocurrency, or in a property, right, you can, that investment will go up in value, hopefully, right? And you can combat that, that percentage loss. So let's see here. So we're kind of specifically talking about first-time home buyers, right? In this little thing I made, this thing I made here. What's it called? A PowerPoint or a keynote. So first-time home buyers. So a lot of people like I was one of them. I thought like my whole life. I said I want to have a house. I want to buy my first house, my baby. I was gonna be a real estate king because I'm a business guy. And that was going to be my business. Okay, I was going to buy multifamily properties. I had a friend who I was going to team up with. We were going to buy properties. We were going to rent them out. We're both into construction, and that was going to be our business. Maybe transition that into a property management firm later on. It didn't work out that way. We ended up kind of splitting up. Obviously, he's got his shit going on. And I bought a 4-family house. I got a killer deal on it. And later in this video, I'm going to explain how I found that person, how I got that deal. So you can do it too, because it's not that hard. Just takes time and commitment. It is not what I thought it would be. I hate it. I love the house. I'm glad I bought the house because I have huge equity in the house now. I've had the house for 3 years. I could sell it right now and make $300,000 to $400,000, which is amazing. It's the best trade I ever made. But I don't like dealing with tenants. Like if I sell the house, I'm gonna rent, right? I'm gonna rent for a little bit because I do crypto now. I make content. I want to be able to travel, and that's what my lifestyle allows. That's what my job allows. But again, homeownership is up to you. Maybe you want to start a family. Maybe you think a house is really going to motivate you. And just the fact, maybe you're a little bit of a control person. You want to own the property that you live in. So you make the rules. You can design it how you like. You can paint the walls. You don't have to worry about a landlord. Maybe that is up your alley. I don't know. It's something you have to think about. But let's move on, and we're going to talk about some statistics here in a second. So real estate cannot be lost or stolen, nor can it be carried away. It is about the safest investment. That's from Franklin D. Roosevelt, right? And that's still true. But again, it's about what your goals are. So what are your goals, right? Do you want to travel? Do you want to settle down? Do you want to start a family? The thing is, like, home ownership is good for everybody if you find a great deal. Everything's based on price, right? I might not buy these glasses, right, for $10 because I don't think they look that great on me. But if they're priced for $1, sure, I'll buy them. So everything comes down to price, right? Those are my dads. What does it mean for you to own your own space? Own your space as opposed to rent. Like I said, it's all about mindset, right? If you think it's really going to motivate, some people like to come home, they like to put their feet up, they want to have pets, they don't want to have to worry about a landlord, they know they want to have a little baby, they want a safe place to raise the baby. Some people want a house and they want it to pay for themselves. Maybe they get a multifamily, which is another thing we're going to talk about. That's a great thing to do. The house I bought is a 4-unit house. And you can buy up to a 4-unit with a first-time home buyer program. Okay, so that's a fact you should know. But again, it's all about your goals. It's all about what you want in the future. Because when you buy a house, you want to think, at least 5 years, right? In a 5-year term, unless you're doing strictly an investment property or a business deal, right? So let's look at some stats here. So median age of home buyers, 1981 to 2024. Okay, whenever I find stats, I like to find ones that are recent, right? So this ended last year, so that's good. The median age increased to peak of 56 years old, up from 49 years, and that was last year. Okay, so as you can see, let's take a look here. Right now, it's about 38, right? What's this? 40, yeah. So first-time home buyer, on average, they're about, the median, they're about 38 years old, okay? They're about 38. So if you're around 30 and you're buying your first house, you're doing better than the average, right? But let's take a look back in 2010. It was down to 30, right? 30 was the average age, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if this goes up a little bit this coming year because house prices are high and interest rates are high. Let's move on. Here's some more stats here. So first-time home buyer statistics. Declining share of first-time buyers. First-time home buyers consisted of only 24% of all home purchases between July 2023 and June 2024, making a historic low since data collection began in 1981. Right? I bet you if this started back in 1900, it would still be low. Right? Maybe in like the Great Depression in the 1930s, or maybe in the 2008 market crash, or the housing market crash, maybe there would have been some dips there too. But again, these are not good signs in terms of like home ownership excitement, right? Increasing age and income. The median age of first-time home buyers has risen to 38 years, up from 35 the previous year, as the chart we just looked at showed. The median household income for these buyers is now $97,000. That's household income, right? So you got to think, usually referring to two people. Okay, so that's not a ton. If you're one person making $97,000, especially if you're young, you're in your low 30s, you're crushing it, and you should not have a problem buying a house, even if your credit is shot. Reflecting the need for higher earnings to enter the housing market. Okay, and that's true. As houses prices go up, it's obvious you need to make more to be able to afford it, right? Because you got the mortgage payment, and I would recommend putting down as least as possible. Okay, I was like, should I put down, because I could afford to put down 20%, but I was like, I don't want to do that. You want to try to keep your cash for other investments, right? If someone's going to loan you money and you can only put down 3.5%, which is what first-time home buyer programs offer, I would do that, right? Financial hurdles. First-time buyers are making larger down payments, with the typical amount increasing to 9% of the home's purchase price. This all depends what mortgage you have. There are some conventional mortgages that offer a 3%, but generally speaking, that's a first-time home buyer program. Now, you can utilize a first-time home buyer program with a second house. A lot of times they require you to sell the first house, the first house first, but sometimes if the houses are over 100 miles apart and you have a good reason, you can get another loan for under a first-time home buyer program. Higher home prices and elevated mortgage rates have made affordability a significant barrier, leading many potential buyers to delay home ownership. That's true. I mean, come on, right? You see all the. I mean, I'm happy now, right, that the home prices go up because I have my first house and I don't plan on probably buying. The thing is, when I bought my house, I was like, it's a 4-unit. I got a really good deal on it. I have a lot of equity in it. That's the only reason I'm thinking about selling, is because I have the equity, right? But I was like, this is going to be my retirement, right? I'm going to buy this house and I'm going to keep it forever. But again, like, I don't want to deal with managing the property because I do crypto now. Before I wanted to do real estate, now I'm into cryptocurrency. So that's kind of like what I try to tie all these videos into, is like cryptocurrency I see right now is the biggest opportunity. So it's like, when you look at this video, think about, should I buy a house or should I invest in cryptocurrency? Those are the two views that I see in terms of like the best option to put your money, right? Unless you have some type of edge elsewhere. Let's see here. Demographic shifts. The average age of all home buyers has reached 56 years, the highest on record. Okay, single women are entering the housing market. Ooh, hello. Later than single men. Oh, that's not good. Typically purchasing the first home 6 years later, often due to income disparities, and this is going to shrink as time goes on, because women are equal in the workplace, more or less. So their wages are going to rise as they have been. We get a few more pages of stats here. Let's take a look. So, I can't speak. Statistics on down payments and mortgage type. Down payments. Median down payment. First-time buyers typically make a down payment of 9% of the home's purchase price, the highest since 1997. I don't know where they got this. Use a first-time home buyer program, right? If your credit is below 600, you have to put down, I think it's 10%. If it's above 600, which is still not a lot, sorry, it's 580. If it's above 580, you can put down 3.5%. Okay, so your credit can still be crappy, and you can still put down very little for a down payment. Let's see, sources of down payment. So a significant portion, this is kind of cool. Significant portion, 69% of first-time buyers utilize their savings for the down payment, obviously. Additionally, 25% receive financial assistance in the form of gifts or loan from relatives or friends. So you got to think, I never thought it would be that high. So I didn't get no money from my parents. I'm in their house right now. They don't know it, but no, I'm just kidding. But it's just funny, like 1 out of 4 people they get a gift from the parents, like, oh, here's 10 grand for your house. Here's like, I could see like some parents, like, this should probably be in the family, like some parents like buy their kids their first car when they turn 16. I didn't really get that, right? I got grandma's old piece of crap that I had to pay for off my sister, right? But I love that thing. But but again, it's just funny. So 1 out of 4 people are getting help. So if you don't have a first house and you don't have help, don't feel that bad. Just get frugal and save your money. Mortgage types. Financing prevalence. A substantial 91% of first-time buyers finance their home purchases, with the median loan covering 90% of the home value. So this is just based off of the 9% up here, 91% of home's value. My mortgage was for 96.5% of the home's value, or of what I paid for the house, because the value was significantly higher, like I said. Loan types. The majority of first-time home buyers, 64%, opted for conventional loans. This really surprises me, because, dude, if you can put, like, I just think that some people are not thinking, like, well, here's the thing. I'm always business-minded, right? And that's what I try to, like, tell people. Like, when they ask me, like, should I buy a house? Like, buy a duplex, right? Some people would consider that roughing it. The rent from the unit you're not living in is basically going to pay your mortgage. So you're not going to pay for the house, your tenants are, right? And then after people think, like, once you have like a 1 3 family, or like a 4 family, which I have, I've got a 4 unit. They think you're making a ton of money. No, your goal is to pay the mortgage, right? So the house pays for itself, and then that's your retirement. Okay. But again, this statistic is just kind of surprising to me. So the Federal Housing Administration (FHA) loans were chosen by 50%, while 12% selected Veterans Affairs loans. Okay, so if you're a vet, do that, because a lot of times I don't know too much about those. I'm not a veteran myself. But again, it's like an FHA loan, which is what I used. I think even a little better. I think sometimes they can let you get a house without putting anything down. And there's other ways too, which we'll talk about in a second. You can get a loan on your closing costs too, right? You can go to a third party and get that. There's nothing stopping you. Considerable statistics. Challenges faced by first-time buyers. Affordability issues. In 2024, first-time buyers constituted a historic low of 24% of all home purchases, down from 32% the previous year. This decline is attributed to high home prices, elevated mortgage rates, and limited inventory, making home ownership increasingly challenging for newcomers. Okay, financial strain. The median household income for first-time buyers rose to $97,000 in 2024. Yet many still face significant financial hurdles. For instance, in Sydney, Australia, nearly 2/3 of first-time buyers in 2024 received financial support from family, up from 42% in 2023, highlighting the growth reliance on external assistance to enter the housing market. Now, the reason you see a raise in this is because parents can see that it's tough to buy a house, and they're like, listen, we want to get you the fuck out of our house, take a few bucks and go buy your own place. Realistically, that's probably what it's like. Parents are like, listen, we know it's tough out there, because it was much easier back in the day. Inflation has just crushed the middle class. Okay, so here's the thing: you really have to be strategic and really have to be methodical in thinking about buying a house, and even more so when you decide to buy a house, which house to buy. Right? Do you remember back a few years ago when mortgage rates got really, really low? Like the Fed was giving money at 0%. So I got under 3% for my house, 2.99 or 2.9, which is incredible. That's why I got a home run deal, because I have a low interest rate and I got a huge discount on the house. Right? So I just hit that. That's why I have so much equity in the house now. My mortgage payment is still high because it's a 4-unit house, while my tenants pay the mortgage. Okay, and I can live in 1 unit for free. So there's many benefits to buying a multifamily. Let's look at a positive aspect here. So agent satisfaction. Despite financial challenges, first-time homebuyers report high satisfaction with the real estate agents. Approximately 88% of buyers express contentment with their agents' responsiveness, knowledge, honesty, and market expertise. Okay? So most people are happy. Now, how to buy your first house. How do you do it? Here's a handful of tips that will actually help. Take advantage of first-time homebuyer programs, okay? Now, many people think, like, how do I do this? How do I start this? If you want to find a house, traditionally speaking, you call a real estate agent, and then you need to find someone who's going to give you a loan, right? And a lot of times they'll know someone. It's nice when everybody works together. You want to make sure you don't get cornered, but your loan officer is gonna be able to tell you about all this stuff and talk to you about all loans. It's not like you have to go and find out for yourself. He's gonna know all that stuff. Okay. Many governments and financial institutions offer assistance programs that help reduce upfront cost. FHA loans. This is in the U.S. Requires as little as 3.5% down and have more lenient credit requirements. VA loans for veterans and military members. No down payment required, lower interest rates. USDA loans for rural areas. No down payment required for eligible buyers in rural and some suburban areas. Okay, I don't know much about USDA loans or VA loans. State and local assistance programs. Many states offer down payment and closing cost assistance grants or low interest loans. Okay, so that's the thing. And you're going to know, like I said, you don't have to study this stuff. Once you find a real estate agent, that's all you have to do. He's going to point you in the right direction. However, if you don't want to do that, right, here's one thing that you can do. We're going to go over this. I'm going to tell you how I found my house, okay? Buy a multifamily property. This is what I did. I didn't even consider a single family. It was just not in my sight. Consider a duplex or a triplex or a quad, right, where you can live in one unit and rent out the others to help cover the mortgage. Qualify for an FHA loan with 3.5% down. It's possible for multifamily homes, okay? This is what I did and worked out great. You can get up to a 4-unit, okay, on an FHA loan. So you can get a 4-unit house while putting down 3.5%. So here's what I did, okay? Now the MLS, the multi-listing service, okay, is where all the houses are, whether they're for sale or not, okay? So I'm in Lowell, Massachusetts. That's where I was targeting, okay? So I had someone who has, you have to have access. You have to be a real estate agent. I wasn't. I know someone who has access. I said, print me off a list of all the houses in Lowell that have 4 bathrooms. Now, Lowell's a city, right? So if they have 4 bathrooms, more often than not, about 90% of the time, it's going to be a 4-unit house. It could be a 3 with like one big unit. But realistically, what I would do is I would take that list, okay? Then I had it organized from when the houses were bought at the oldest, right? So these houses were bought back in the late 60s and the 70s, all the way down to present day, okay? Then I would start at the top. Now, what I got is the house address, when it was bought, what they paid, and the owner's name. That's it. So I would Google search the house, right? I would look on Google Maps, and I would see, does that look like a 4-unit house? Okay, if it did, here's what I would do. I bought a subscription to White Pages, okay? I would put in that person's name and address into White Pages, and it would spit me out phone numbers, okay? About 5 or 6, sometimes up to 8, sometimes 2, sometimes 1. And I would call all the numbers, hopefully to get in touch with the person. About half the time, you have the right number. Okay? Then when you get a hold of the person, you say, hello, is this so-and-so? They say yes. Then you hit your pitch, right? And I perfected it over time, but generally speaking, it was something like, because a lot of times people want to help other people, right? And they don't want to see their house be sold to some asshole property developer, some big money guy. They want a kid and they know that the person is going to take care of the place, right? So I say, hey, listen, my name is Daniel Scott Jacobs. I'm looking to buy my first house. I noticed you have a house that's old. Have you ever thought about selling, right? So I did that. After a few months, I found the guy. I met with him. I did the whole process. I bought the house. I got a killer deal. You can do that. The hardest thing you got to pay for the subscription to White Pages, and also you have to get the list off the MLS. But you can drive around and find houses and search addresses. Find ones you like. I'm telling you right now, when I made the call, when I saw this house I bought, I said, I just feel like I want to own that place. I just love to look at it. It was awesome. And I freaking got the place, dude. I did it. So I'm telling you, you can do that. Don't be like this guy. Don't get discouraged, right? He's got a nice, beautiful looking house in the background. He can't buy it because he doesn't have enough money. No, I don't know. I got this picture off the internet. So here's some other helpful things to consider before we finish. Consider a fixer-upper. Even if you have no construction skills at all, you'll figure it out, right? Here's the thing. When I was renovating my multifamily, like, I moved into a unit that was half renovated because I came home and I was like, I don't want to live in this shithole. And I renovated the place, right? So that is one thing you can do, and you'll figure it out. You'll find people that will help you. Maybe with contractors, maybe you got friends that come over. Getting a fixer-upper is something to consider, but it's harder to find, just like everything else. Explore rent-to-own or seller finances. So you can find a seller that will finance your house for you, or you can start renting. But before you sign a lease to rent, you'd already have to speak to the owner and be like, listen, we're thinking about buying the place. Could we set this up as a rent to own? So the rent that you pay might go towards the home price. Or you tweet the details with them. Move to a more affordable area. Obvious reasons. You know what I mean? Move to, Bum City, and you'll get a cheap place behind a dumpster with alley cats or something. Improve your credit score. That takes time. One thing you can do to improve your credit score is if your parents trust you, have them put you on an account with them, right? Get onto one of their accounts. It'll boost your score up within a few months, right? It just varies depending on their score, and there's a couple of the variables that go into it. Save on closing costs. Okay, so you can talk to the seller. Again, it's much easier if you have a private sale, and that's another way. If you can avoid real estate agents, and by doing the legwork and by telling the seller that you're going to handle everything, you're going to do. Because when I bought my multifamily, I had to get inspections. There's certain entities that have to sign off. So that stuff takes time. Okay. So there's certain ways to save, and you can kind of figure that out with the seller and kind of feel them out where they're at and how rigid they want to be. Buy with a co-buyer, okay? Like I said, me and my friend were thinking about doing it together. He went off on his thing, I went off on mine. But if you don't, team up with a friend. Like if you're 20 right now and you got 20,000 in savings, find a friend who you're cool with who's got 20,000 in savings. Find a duplex. You just live in one unit, and that's your start, right? You guys pay off that house, then maybe you buy another one, or maybe from there you buy single-family houses, and then you guys have that one. Then maybe you buy him out, he buys you out, whatever. But that's something to consider. If you're young, like if you're 20, if you're not, invest in crypto, or after this bull run, you got some money saved. You know what I mean? Think about it. It's something to do, and you're gonna be a go-getter. People are gonna look at you and be like, "Wow, like he's doing it." Like go out there and you gotta find these deals. Like that's the thing. Like no one's gonna hand you a house. Like I went out and I deserve my house because I fucking worked for it. I'm telling you right now. I came home from working 12 hours, 10 hours. Came home and I made calls for 2 hours. Right, and I perfected my pitch and I got the house. Okay, it says here's what I did here. I already told you, right? But you can do it too. Right, I'm telling you right now. People are capable of a lot more than they give themselves credit for. I'll tell you that, and it's true. Okay, if you've made it this far, I appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. Okay, and here's one thing: if you actually liked the content, hit the like button. If you don't like it, don't hit the dislike button. I don't care. But thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one, hopefully.